back to what I was saying with recruiting, because a lot of this game, I know, Florida doesn't play good, and you can say what you want. Richardson doesn't play. He played good and bad at times, as you would expect from a freshman quarterback in his first career game against the best defense in football. But, and a lot of people want to talk about recruiting, but I think Florida fans, if you're just joining us, have an unrealistic expectation of what Florida is supposed to be. As Jet said, part of the facility's issue is the USF has done a horrible job at managing its growth. There's hardly any land left to build on. Yeah, there's hardly any land in Gainesville, period. And it's like the adults say, you have to keep up with the Joneses, and Florida had a prime opportunity with everything that happened from 06 to 09 to jump on all that stuff, and they didn't. And I was just a kid. I'm only 23 now. I graduated from UF last year. It didn't seem like Florida did much of anything with the publicity, with the money, other than the enrollment rate skyrocketing up and it getting a little hard to get into UF. That's about the only thing I can think of. Yeah, the iPhone 4 still makes calls. Yep, it does make calls, but if you want to use the internet and all the apps like the cool kids do, you got to stay up to date like this one with the iPhone 12, and that's what Georgia and Alabama are doing, and Florida is still using the iPhone 4. Uga didn't get his indoor facility until 2018. Okay, so a lot of schools, I'll say. So Georgia wasn't one of them. I name dropped Georgia there. A lot of schools had an indoor practice facility before Florida did. Yeah, here's another good comment that I forgot to mention. Florida doesn't spend on recruiting. They definitely have. So the list came out this week on recruiting. Georgia they spent, I think it was last year, just over $3 million, as did Alabama. Those are only two schools, I think, that spent over $3 million. Florida, just over $1 million. Georgia and Alabama were 1 and 2. Florida was like 13, 14, something like that. So, it's like I'll ask you guys. If I gave you $3 million to build a house and I had $1 million to build a house, which house is going to look better? The house with $3 million. It's just that simple. Anthony drops another comment. You're right, though, but that's what gets recruits, not a green screen. He's our recruiter ranking 18th, lost 2 to 4 5-star recruits. You definitely need to put more money into recruiting. Yeah, that's how you get all your players. And I know that Dan Mullen's done a great job in the transfer portal, but you got to get these guys in from day one and get them in the program. And it's like, look at the running back position. Look at the running back group. You got Lingard, a 5-star, and Bowman, a 5-star, transfer from Miami and Clemson. Haven't played a meaningful snap in a big game so far this season. Now, I think it's because Mullen runs a complex offense, and he wants to get the guys fully developed and them knowing what they want to do, knowing what they can do before he puts them in. And it's hard to do that if they transfer in and then plug and play. If you looked at everybody who's played, Pierce has been there since Mullen's first year. Davis has been in the program since Jim McElwain in 2017, and Naquan Wright was there last year too. So Jet drops. They did get this complex. They did. And that was for all the athletes. That's not. I don't think that was just for the football. That's for all the athletes to study. But a football only facility helps out so much, because something the average person doesn't understand is football players, they wake up 5, 6 a.m. every day, and they don't go to bed until 9, 10 p.m. So you wake up, you do your workouts, whatever. You go to class, and then when you're not in class, you're at that football-only facility. And you need things to do. And that's where all of these players spend their entire day. And if Georgia, Alabama have all the cool things and they stay up to date on all the cool stuff, it's kind of hard to not go to one of those schools and instead go to Florida, unless you just always wanted to be a Gator or you just want to play for a coach. It's one of those things that Florida's behind in. And what you have to give to players is a main reason why you go to a school. So if you missed that, I talked about that at length 20 minutes ago. So, and if you missed it, you can archive it at the Voice of College Football on the SEC or the Florida Gator channel here on YouTube. Jed drops another comment. Kids will play for winners. If Saban came to UF right now, UF would have a top 5 class immediately. Yeah, that's true. Winning does cure a lot of stuff, but I still think taking pictures behind a green screen when they're not doing that at Georgia and Alabama, and doing a lot of I'd say cool stuff. It just makes it harder to get these guys in. Not making an excuse, because none of it's all Mullen's fault, and maybe recruiting will change once Florida gets its football-only facility. I think it's supposed to get there and be complete within the start of next year. I think the latest by the summer, because the baseball has its own field by a softball field now, and what was the old baseball field is still under construction. Will be football only, because for the people that don't know, I would always park my car and walk to do the tailgate when I was a student at UF for Jeff Cardozo and Pat Dooley. And every time I would walk, so the show starts at 4, I would park my car like 3:30 to walk from the football stadium to Weimer Hall, where the radio show was. And the football players would be always walking that way. And again, if you're just joining us, almost every single school in the Power 5 has a football only facility. Florida is not one of those programs. I think it's like 60 programs of the 65 have a football only facility. Florida's not one of them. Think about that. It's kind of crazy. Total yards, top, first downs, turnovers were all rather even this game, yet the score reflects a whooping. Florida even had the edge in all but turnovers. That was 3 each. Yeah. And a lot of that is, the total yards was kind of skewed because Georgia had 2 short drives to score a touchdown, where they scored with James Cook, and I forget who scored the other touchdown after the Richardson first interception, and then the pick 6. So, but yeah, the yards were Florida did technically outgain Georgia, but when you have to go long drives and against a good, really good Georgia defense, it's just a numbers game. You're playing a probability at that point. Vibes Live Chicago says, "Where's Florida go from here?" Well, at this rate, you just got to prepare for next season. You roll with Anthony Richardson now. Richardson is in the concussion protocol. He took a blow to the head, and he probably he didn't come back in for the rest of the game. So we'll see what practice looks like for this week. Florida plays South Carolina 7:30. So we'll see. Richardson should be the guy going forward, but at this rate, you should just prepare for next season. I mean, this season's a lost cause. You don't have all of the goals that Florida wanted. Were already lost before the season. So all you can do is just hope to, get some guys to play, a lot of your young guys to play, and just hope for the best. You're not playing a lot of good teams down the stretch. Not saying they can't be beaten against South Carolina, Missouri, and Florida State, and then you have Samford in 2 weeks as well. But you're just getting young guys to play, and playing a lot of your redshirt freshmen. I saw Marcus Burke, the kid I knew growing up. He got in at receiver at the very end of the Florida Georgia game. Guys like him, Austin Barber's another guy, and a lot of your freshmen that don't play that can get that 3rd, 4th game as a redshirt. Play them in your last few games against Florida State and in the bowl game. But I mean, it's definitely crazy to think Florida's 4-4, specifically after what happened after the Alabama game.